Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Raid Shadow Legends. Now, today is Wednesday, and color me surprised when yesterday, and I know I'm a bit late to talk about this, but crazy nonetheless, when I logged in after the maintenance yesterday, and all of a sudden we're hit with this in our face, the Skeletor chase. Now, I'm not entirely surprised about this because we have the video, or the movie of Masters of the Universe. The new He-Man movie is coming up pretty soon, right? I'm in Germany. It's kind of hard to find English movies for everything. I actually want to see it. I just don't know if I'll be able to or not. Same with a couple other movies. I think some people were maybe a little bit disappointed that it wasn't something related to Mortal Kombat, right? I see this everywhere, whether it's on Reddit, comments, or in my Discord. People want this really bad. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen for, I guess the main collab would be at late August, which is where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out. Anyways, I do want to talk about the changes to Skeletor. I want to talk about He-Man's Champion Pass and whether or not it might be worth it for some people. Now, before we get started with the rest of the video, I do want to remind people that if you haven't started playing Raid yet, I guess now is a better time, right? Because of Skeletor too. But you'll also get Grand Oak Padraig at the start of your new account, and also these three epics, Zargala, Tagor, and Farrakhan the Fat. And don't forget that you can also use this promo code, RAID7, to get Pelops the Victor. He was the March Fusion for the brand new Argonites faction. So use this within the first 48 hours of a brand new account. Okay, so let's talk once again about Skeletor. So in about 5 days, if you've been playing every day, you will get Skeletor. You will also get a 2 red soul in 7 more days, and then by phase 2, I forget how many days this is, like 10 days. So in total, like 24 days, and you'll get a 5 red Skeletor. Now, this will be very good for new players, right? Because he is okay. Let's just say, when he came out, he wasn't very good. They've kind of changed him up a little bit. I do question the usefulness of this for some. If you're anywhere from like 6 to 8 months onwards, you're probably not going to get a ton of value out of him. I'll be perfectly honest about that. But I do want to talk about the changes that were made because there's a nice little graphic here. So let's zoom in a bit. Skeletor is obviously from the Knights of Revenant faction. He's Spirit Affinity based. His A1, it was a 2-hitter and 75% chance of increasing the duration of a random debuff by 1. Now, it can increase the duration of 2 random debuffs by 1, and also has a 75% chance of decreasing the duration of random buffs on the target. This might have some use still in PvP. There might be some dungeons where this actually has some application very early on, right? There are some like keeps and shit where like they have buffs that might be hard to clear early on in your game. So this is free, right? Skull Comet, it's a 1-hitter. Now, there was a bunch of stuff here related to petrification and decreased attack and speed, where it would only put these debuffs down if they were a boss. But now, I don't think that's the case. Now it's just a 75% chance to place the decreased attack debuff and decreased speed on the target for 2 turns, regardless of if they're a boss or not. Now, what I don't like, though, is it's not a guaranteed chance, right? I feel like some of the better and the newer legendaries, they kind of have like a more, not always, but like a guaranteed chance to place the debuff. That would be better. So I feel like without the books to get that up to 100%, right? Because if we go in game and we take a look at Skeletor, because he probably has that there, right? Skeletor, where are you, Skeletor? That you would, yes. So you would get the books in there to get that up to 100%, and also from 5 cooldowns to 3. So that's missing on the little graphic there. And then the A3, Be Gone Fools. They only changed this little bit of the text, so 2 other random buffs from each enemy. So they can steal more buffs. But again, for a support champion, he's not really doing a ton, in my opinion. Right? Like, overall, okay, he can put the decreased attack and speed. That's not bad, actually. Like, for a new player, like, these are good debuffs. It's just 75% chance, which is kind of annoying. Then he gets an increased accuracy buff on all allies, which is just like okay, but like it could be a lot better. Like if it could add a block buffs debuff or something like this, or even just give the block debuffs buff to your team. Like so it steals it, but it doesn't actually give it, so which is kind of annoying. Doesn't even spread it to your teammates. So like there's a lot of missed opportunities here, I think. And the A1 is just mediocre. Now going back to the passive here, there is a bit of change. Whenever this champion attempts to place a debuff, steal a buff, decrease the enemy's turn meter, and decrease the duration of a buff on an enemy. Increase the duration of a debuff on an enemy, increase the champion's accuracy by 20 for each buff on the enemy. Okay. Decreasing the duration is okay, but again, so. Whenever this champion is hit, has a 50% chance to place a 50% decrease resist debuff for the attacker for 1 turn. 50%, not amazing. It's 100% against champions from the Tolarian League. Now, that was the wrong button. What is the Tolarian League? The Tolarian League, of course, for those who don't know, it's like on the top row. So, Sacred Order, High Elves, Bannerlords, and Barbarians. Obviously, that's because He-Man is part of the Sacred Order faction, which we'll talk about in a minute. But that's probably why they're, right? Even though He-Man is arguably better than Skeletor. But anyways, if this champion loses 30% or more HP from this attack, there's a 25% chance to place Petrification for 1 turn, 50% if they're from the Tolarian League. So, it's okay. But honestly, I'd still rate him like a 3.5 out of 5. Maybe that's generous, like a 3 or a 3.5. I think Skeletor is basically equivalent, I would say, to a really good epic, or even a mediocre epic, which is the sad part, actually. But he is for free, and you will get a 5 red star for him, and I think where he will do the best is going to be for new player accounts. I think that where you don't have much better, and you don't have a lot of alternatives, Skeletor will do really well there. You'll probably want to build them with a mixture of speed and accuracy, right? That's typically how you want to do for these sort of debuffer type characters. He's not going to be doing like huge damage. That's not his role. But it's free, right? And it's fun. And I didn't think they were going to bring it back anyways. And I guess if he's a bench warmer for some of you guys, at least he's going to be a nice looking bench warmer. I have a few of those actually, including like April O'Neil from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, who I still don't use. She's just sitting here like she's a bench warmer character, but she's exclusive. So, hey, at least I get to come back and look at her every now and then. And then let's talk about the Champions Pass for He-Man. So this is available for 2 months, basically. So this will be running until, I guess, you'll have the opportunity to buy it until like mid-July. But for the Skeletor chase, it is going to be over by late June, I believe. I think it says actually down here at the very bottom. It says if Skeletor isn't claimed, it will become the Shaman chase on June the 22nd. So actually, the chase part is only available, I think, for like a month. You just have a little bit of extra time, I believe, to complete some of this other stuff. So that this will be running, I believe, until July, like once you get Skeletor unlocked. But you do have to get him by June 22nd. So that means you would have to basically start it by, I think, June the 15th. Oh no, you had, sorry, that day 7 can run all the way up till June the 22nd. But anyways, let's talk about He-Man. So at the very least, free to play, you're gonna get some cool shit. You're gonna get a He-Man avatar. You're gonna get some legendary accessories, which would be useful for new players, and you get a feast. Actually, these are quite valuable. That allow you to get a character to 6-star right away by using this, and it's totally free. You don't have to spend anything for this. Now, for the Elite Pass to get He-Man, it's 55 Canadian, or about, I think it's $40 US, right? You do not need to buy the Elite Pass. This is total garbage. Don't do it. It's going to be really quick. You get levels. I'm already at level 6, right? You're going to get this within like 4 or 5 days. So it's not a big deal. Now, what else you get? You get some mythical instinct gear. And I would say the instinct gear is still pretty good. You get a 5-star turkey. The rest of it's not really that relevant, right? Or I mean, it's not part of the money. You're paying for He-Man. So let's talk about He-Man, right? Let's talk about He-Man and what value he might have for you and or me, right? And so He-Man, I actually, when I first started playing the game, I was really upset that I started playing this game about a month or two after He-Man's Master of the Universe thing ended. So this does give me the opportunity to do a little bit more. Now, the reviews. What do the reviews say? Well, he's a really powerful nuker. The problem is, I guess nowadays, we're in the meta of Mercurial, right? Mercurial gear. And so for later game players, he's probably not going to hold a ton of value. He does have a 28% speed or aura in Arena, which is really, really nice. And he does a really good job at nuking. Increase this champion's attack and HP by 5% for each buff on this champion up to 50%. So that would be like up to 10 buffs. He places strength in at the start of the round and on the champion for 2 turns whenever an enemy's HP drops below 50%, and he's immune to petrification. So that's kind of neat, right? But his big thing is like, I guess it really should be this. So you really, this is a big nuke, and you really want him to have an attack up by someone else, like use Arbiter or whatever in arena and give him the attack up buff so that he can go right into this, or other buffs so he can go right into this. And this is his big AoE nuke. Like, it hits really hard. Attacks all enemies. It's on a cooldown of 3 with books. This could have some really good value in faction wars. If you need a really strong Sacred Order nuker, he is the guy. The damage inflicted by this skill increases by 10% for each buff, up to 500%. I don't even know how you get there. Is that 50 buffs? Like, I'm not even sure how you get there, right? It's for each buff placed. Does that count turns, like 2 turns of whatever? I don't think so. You can't even get 50 buffs, right? So I'm not even sure how that gets to 500%. Maybe somebody can let me know in the comments down below. And then reset after the skill is used. Or is it over time? Does this go up over time? That could be a big thing, right? Before this skill is used. Okay, so maybe just like if you go a long time without using it, it could stack up to 500%. But that seems a bit wasteful to not use the skill more often. Then is A2 Luminous Cleave. It's on a cooldown of 4 with books. Gives him the 50% increased attack buff for 2 turns. That is if basically he has nobody else, no support champions like Arbiter or something that can give him that. Ignore Stone Skin buffs. Cool. So it beats the Stone Skin a little bit. If the attack kills an enemy, fill the turn meter of all allies by 30%. And the damage actually scales based on HP and attack, which is interesting. His A1, place an extra hit on enemies from the Corrupted Alliance, right? And so that's from, basically, because of Skeletor, right? So Knights, Revenant, Dark Elves, Undead, and Demon Spawn. So an extra hit there from He-Man with his A1. Fills the champion's turn meter by 10%, and an additional 2% for each buff on He-Man. So his damage is really good. The problem is that his AoE now can be absorbed by Mercurial, right? It's a one-hit attack, which is very easily absorbable, well, by Stone Skin as well, but also Mercurial for sure. So you would need him to be a little bit slower and have somebody else go a little bit faster in a PvP scenario anyways to get rid of the Mercurial or any other buffs, right? At least this does ignore Stone Skin, so there's a good chance that you might be able to kill someone with this, because it also gives him the 50% increased stack buff. So he does do a lot of damage. No question there. It's just, I guess from a PvP context, he's not as good anymore. But where I might be considering him is from a nuker's perspective, from an attacker's perspective. His damage is very, 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 very strong. And if you're missing, even if you had Ezio from the Assassin's Creed collab, which was free, I wouldn't say that Ezio has as high of a damage nuking potential as He-Man does. So that's where I'm considering getting him. I haven't decided. I have some time to think about it. But for $40 US, which is the equivalent of buying 2 Sacred Shards or even a couple of other shards, right? I think Void Shards are like $4, $3 or $4 a shard. I'm getting a guaranteed champion. And he's also limited, right? Or at least we thought. But anyways, he's probably not going to come back a third time. And I do have this weird obsession about, limited time characters. I think I'm going to get more value out of He-Man, though, than I will, like, April O'Neil. So part of this makes me want to do it. But I think overall, a lot of people are just a bit upset that we didn't get another collab yet. There could be a Chaos Awakes style event where, we had Tholan Falbeard and Karosa and these other characters and Lemonisi, right? I think that there's going to be another free character basically just after when it ends for Skeletor, because last year around this time, I believe in June, July, we had the free Lemonisi chase. So we will get another free champion probably this summer on the backs of Skeletor. So don't worry about that. But I think people were just like, I want Mortal Kombat, blah, blah. So I hope that maybe I want Mortal Kombat too. Don't worry, guys. Anyways, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below and whether or not you're going to pick up the He-Man Champion Pass, or I guess just your thoughts overall on Skeletor and He-Man. Now, before we go, do want to remind people that if you haven't started yet, now is obviously a great time because you get a free Skeletor, but you'll also get Grand Oak Padrag, Zargala, Tagore, and Farrakhan the Fat at 10, 20, and 30, and also Pelops the Victor. So he is the Raid Fusion Legendary from March for the new Argonites faction. Really great character. All you got to do is use the promo code RAID7 in the first 48 hours of a brand new account. That's it for me, everyone, and I'll see you all on the next video. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.